Death of a Mean Cornet by Michael McStay, with Joe Dunlop as Sergeant Astor and Stephen Thorne as Inspector Coleman.
Good night, everybody. That's it. Ain't no more. We'll see you Soho Square Monday round about high noon. Thank you. Now get out of here. Don't want to see you no more.
Excuse me, Buddy Brown.
Hi there.
John.
John? Nobody's called me that in years.
Fred Astor.
Hi, Fred. Fred Astor. Fred Astor from...
That's right.
Well, damn. What are you doing?
I was in the audience.
Tonight?
Yeah, I can't see how my old school friend was making out.
Fred Astor, will I be... good to see you. Listen, what are you doing, eh? Have you got time?
Oh, I'm doing nothing.
Well, have a jar. The guys can check us out.
I'm not interrupting anything.
Oh, hell no. Is this your scene?
What?
Trad jazz?
It was me introduced you to it. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. The nights round at your place, listening to Jelly Roll, and we should have been doing our homework, eh? You know why I failed history? I thought King Oliver was Oliver Cromwell, eh? I've progressed since then. Listen, let's get out of here. I know a place we can get a drink.
I'll bet you do.
Yeah, I know places you can get most anything, eh? But me, I'll settle for a glass of malt. You do?
Oh, I've been known to take a dram.
Well, let's get out of here. Hey, see us out of here, will you? Square the man, and I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, same as always. We got homes of our own, man.
You treat those black boys real bad.
Oh, well, hush my mouth. All right, I'll see you guys Monday about 11:30, okay? Stay cool. Right, Fred, let's go. My car is right outside in a double yellow. Oh, damn. Just remembered what you are.
You had your music. You were already... I mean, I had to think of something else.
To change sides, Fred. I mean, why a copper?
You think of something. Didn't matter how many hires you got. You didn't go to Cambridge if you lived on that estate. I hated that place.
Yeah, it was hard to love. That's one of the reasons I used to go back to your mum's place. It was no better than mine. It was just that it wasn't mine.
So becoming a copper was a way out of there for me.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have been surprised if you suddenly had no friends. It was like you'd suddenly announced you were going to support Celtic.
I do support Celtic.
Eternal damnation, huh? Anyway, was it worth it?
Well, they've had a couple of bad seasons. So what about you? You look to made a bob here too?
I'll make a living.
A Porsche?
I suppose from the outside the jazz scene must look pretty cool. Easy living, casual chicks. Most of the time flying high on booze and maybe a little grass. But it's all a rat race. Same as you, I guess. Not all Hercule Poirot on the Orient Express.
That place tonight reeked of pot. I'm not sure I wasn't breaking regulations just being there.
Make no mistake about that. There's a lot of stuff about. I've seen a lot of great guys, great musicians, destroy themselves on it. No, not me.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No. Hey, you remember some of the guys we knew, some of the kids we knew? Blowing their minds on aircraft dope and glue. The kind of stuff that's available now? No. Me? I don't even use cigarettes. I stay with the very best of the Scottish grape.
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, well, I'm game, man. Just look the other way when I drive home, eh? Hey, John Joe, do these again, will ya? Nah. Not all jazz men are hopped up to the eyes. And not all of us are screwing underage dolly butts. Most nights I call away home to the wife and I chase bed, eh? That's when I don't run into old school friends who give me out drinking.
Well, you know about policemen.
Did you manage to find yourself a wife?
Yes.
Thanks, John Joe. Have one yourself. Put it on the tab, eh?
Thanks, John.
Yeah, cheers, Fred.
Yeah, cheers.
I remember a bonny lassie.
Carrie Hendry?
Carrie Henry. That's her. Oh, beautiful. You were very keen, I remember. Whatever happened, eh? Did you,
Yeah.
Good for you. We all fancied her, you know.
I reckon you're right. You probably remember Benny Crenshaw. She left me for him a while back.
Shit.
It wasn't easy for her. I was never home, you know. Criminals don't work 9 to 5.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, me too. So that's what I'm doing in London. My chief insisted I finally took some compassionate leave. I was following up on the job, it seems, so... There was the Soho Jazz Festival, and I love jazz.
And here we are. Yeah, that's a bad story.
It's all in the past.
And she and Benny? I mean, are they still together?
Yeah, as best they can under the circumstances. I'm told she visits him every month. He went down for 3 nicking. I helped put him away.
Oh, that is very good. Huh? Talk about revenge being sweet, eh?
Yeah. But it's still him she visits.
Yeah. Listen, are you in town long?
A few more days.
We've got a gig Monday lunchtime in Soho Square. Maybe I'll see you there.
You got a date?
We'll maybe get into a bit of mischief after, eh? Well, time for me to make a move, huh? Cheers.
Cheers. You're not going to drive.
Me? Never.
I'll have to stop you.
Oh, let's find you a taxi. What I do after that is my business.
Here's a drink.
Shut up.
Here's a drink.
Shut up.
It's bloody cold. Oh, here's a drink.
Shut up.
I've got bread.
I got bread.
Huh? Where'd you get bread?
I got fresh.
Where'd you get fresh?
I get your head to here, will you?
Bloody cold.
She want a drink?
What you got?
Here.
Oh, what's that?
That's bloody sherry.
That's bloody South African.
Shut up. Hey, you, do you want a drink?
Leave him.
Shut up. Hey, do you want a drink?
He's a kid.
You can bloody wake up.
No, leave him.
Hey, bloody wake up, will you? Do you want a drink?
No, give us a bottle back. I'll drink it.
You don't want my drink? Hey, wake up.
No, I'll drink it. Give us it back. Hey, I'll drink it. Give us it back.
Shut up.
What are you doing?
Shut up. Shut up.
He's dead, isn't he?
Shut up.
He's gone now.
Get off out of it. Get out. No. You have his shocking.
Give us a shot. Give us a shot.
Shut up.
Come on, then. Come on, wakey, wakey. Move along, come on.
Time for the office.
Oi! Come on, shake a leg. Don't want you spoiling it for the tourists, do we? Come on, then. Oh, my God.
What's up, Pete?
Got a dead end. Oh, God. Get onto the station, Jack. Tell them to send an ambulance.
Hello? PC Evans, 2643.
Come on.
Got stiff.
Come on, move it
Corner
on.
Villiers Street, Embankment Station. Send an ambulance. Dosser. Over now.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
You're early this morning, sir?
I'm a little late as it happens, but I had calls to make on the way into the office.
A policeman's lot is not a happy one, sir.
So I'm told. Constable Young, if our working relationship is to blossom, you would do well to understand that I am not given to appreciating humour of any kind before my early morning tea.
Oh, right, sir. Inspector Coleman, is something wrong, sir?
Yes, there is. This is my office. You have a reason for being here?
I was using the typewriter, sir.
Once you'd finished your newspaper.
Just keeping up with the crime figures.
Deb's a delight. Delicious Debbie Carswell, a trainee nurse and part-time barmaid by night, shows us she's just what the doctor ordered when it comes to rude good health. Cheers, Debbie. And bottoms up. Crime figures, Constable?
All work and no play, sir.
In any case, that is my typewriter. Do you not have a typewriter of your own?
No, sir.
Well, Sergeant Astor has his own typewriter?
Yes, sir, but he has his own office, sir.
Then perhaps I should have a sergeant working for me while he's on leave.
You could always suggest me for promotion, sir.
I've just warned you about my lack of humour.
Sorry, sir.
Find yourself a typewriter. I'm sure you could commandeer Sergeant Astor's office.
Yes, sir.
But before that, bring me the file on the Ferris case.
Right, sir.
And before that, bring me a cup of tea.
Yes, sir.
Where are you going?
To get your cup of tea, sir.
You've been seconded to me for a week now, and you still haven't grasped...
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
The cup and the saucer and the teapot and the milk jug and the tea are in the cupboard.
Yes, sir. They're in the cupboard, and I put the milk separately
And I do not take sugar.
Yes, I'm sorry, sir. In my mind, I was thinking of other things.
I know exactly what you were thinking of.
Yes, sir.
And take your crime figures with you.
Yes, sir.
Wherever you are, Sergeant Astor, come home. All is forgiven.
Naked? According to Police Constable Evans, totally naked and wrapped in that filthy blanket.
Oh, we'll get nothing from that.
We should give it a going over.
If you have any spare time, Harry?
Obviously not his.
Yeah. Whoever stole his clothes probably left him that to preserve his modesty.
Another dosser.
Oh, most certainly. Except that our friend here was no dosser. Body's in far too good shape.
Go through it again, George?
Oh, right. We have male, Caucasian, approximately 45 years of age, height 5'10 3/4, weight 12'9 1/2. Good condition, probably professional. Slight grazing on right leg and knee and heavy contusion over left ear and base of skull, consistent with heavy fall. Stomach contained considerable amounts of whiskey. Sexual intercourse had taken place recently before death, which occurred somewhere between midnight and 4 a.m. Cause of death, massive overdose of heroin.
Wonder what he was doing with the dossers.
From my experience, your average junkie is none too choosy about the company he keeps.
Right. Lock him away. Somebody might miss him.
Got your tea, Inspector, and I've just got a file of the Ferris business.
You can't manage that, young. Let me...
That's all right, sir.
Leave the door.
Okay, sir, got it.
Constable! Just don't move. Oh, my God. No, leave them where they are. The milk jug!
I can replace them, Inspector.
No, you can't. They were a gift from my wife. She bought them at a sale of fine antiques. They are irreplaceable.
The sentimental value, is it?
Would you please go away, Constable?
Yes, sir.
Leave the file.
Yes, sir. Oh, Inspector Coleman, sir.
What is it, Constable?
I'll go get you a cup of tea from the counter.
Just get out!
Yes, sir.
It's still only Monday.
It ain't like him, man. I mean, he says he's going to be there. The man is going to be there. Right?
What do you do?
You don't happen to blow a cornet, do you?
You must be kidding.
I am serious. I mean, without Buddy, we're going to sound like a palm court trio.
Have you tried his home?
I don't know where he lives. You're his friend, Mr.
Fred Astor. Oh, I don't know where he lives. I'm just on a visit from Scotland.
Well, that ain't no use to me. I mean, I do not hear a bagpipe riff playing when the Saints go marching in.
How do you get in touch with him?
Well, he gets in touch with us. I mean, there's a few clubs around here where you just leave a word if you got some gigs going.
He'd arranged to meet me.
Well, all I know is that he's got a big house somewhere down Chelsea. No, if he was going to show, he'd have showed by now.
Well, we're going to have to get out there and start busking.
Well, I'll hang around.
You do that. You're going to get a lesson in the art of real improvisation.
Young? Constable Young.
Inspector Coleman, sir.
Do you know what is in the Ferris file?
No, sir.
Football pools, sports club accounts.
Oh, yes, I remember.
What do you remember?
I needed a file. I thought the Ferris case was buried.
Buried? The only thing that should be buried around here... Whatever you have done with the reports on the Ferris business, find them, bring them to me, and open a separate file for the blasted sports club.
Yes, sir. I think I know...
Damn it all, Astor, where are you in my hour of need?
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Hello. My name's Astor. Fred Astor. I'm a friend of your husband's.
Oh.
I'm in London for a few days.
He's not in.
We had an arrangement to meet at lunchtime.
Are you one of his musician friends?
I wish I were. No, I knew John in the school days. I'm in town for a short break.
Oh, sorry. I'm being very rude. Do step inside.
Oh, thank you. We grew up on the same estate. I was hoping to get together with John and Buddy,
John?
Huh?
I'm afraid I've no idea where he is. He's away on one of his gigs, so I haven't seen him for a few days, and I don't know when to expect him back.
Oh. Only I saw him on Saturday night. I mean, he was in London.
Mr...
Astor.
I've little interest in John's music. I don't ask him about his professional life. He's often away for long periods, and he usually tells me what he's up to, but I'm afraid I don't always pay much attention.
We're going to meet up at lunchtime.
Well, I can't help you. You said you saw him on Saturday night?
Yes.
I suppose it's possible that he may have gone on up north. Amy.
Mother, I'm going out.
Amy, this is Mr. Astor. He's a friend of Daddy's. It's my daughter, Amy.
I'm going out. I shan't be long.
We'll discuss it in a moment.
You can't stop me. I have to go out.
I'm sorry, Mr. Astor.
I must go out.
Please go back into your room.
You can't stop me.
My daughter hasn't been well.
I'm sorry. Look,
I'm not a prisoner.
If I could just leave you a couple of phone numbers when John gets back. This is where I am at the moment. I'm only here for a couple of days more. Otherwise, there's this number in Scotland. You'll have to ask for me. It's a cop shop. I'd love to keep in touch.
You're a policeman?
I'm afraid so. But only in Scotland. I'm on leave right now.
I'm going now, Mother.
Will you be quiet? You're not well. Please go back into your room.
I need help.
Please excuse me.
No bother. I'll...
Yes. She's had a nervous breakdown.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, goodbye, Mr. Brown.
Of course, when John gets home,
Yes.
I'll see that...
Yeah. Of course. Thank you.
Oh.
I must go out. I must go out.
Oh, poor Amy, my poor love.
It hurts me.
Oh.
It hurts me, Mummy. It hurts.
It's all right. It'll be all right. I'll help you. I'll help you.
Henry. Ice cold.
Hey, man, you never told us you could play like that.
You guys are always making so much noise you can't hear me.
Hold it, Henry. Don't say that. Now, you can say my teeth are pearly, you can say my hair is curly, but you can't call my music noise.
Okay, no.
Oh, yeah.
Piano player. Oh.
Hey.
Hi, fellas. We got our groupie back.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Fine. How are things with you? Buddy's shown up yet?
Cat is gone, man.
Yeah, really gone.
We got ourselves a new man.
I left a message with his wife.
She ain't seen him?
No.
So how'd you find her?
You told me Chelsea. I used a little influence.
Oh, the man has influence.
Well, I am a copper. I'm on leave.
Then leave.
Hey, he don't mean that. like if you are a friend of Buddy.
I mean, sometimes I feel as if I've got a social disease.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why he didn't show.
Then cool it, Jack.
Look, I'd just like to leave the same message with you. If you see him, give him these couple of numbers where he can reach me, eh?
No sweat, except we ain't going to see it.
Why do you say that?
Well, the man is a pro. I mean, the man is an operator, like I already said. He says he's going to be here. He's going to be here.
Maybe he's sick.
Then he still gets word to us. Listen, we got to go on. If Buddy has decided to quit the scene, then he has reasons. Could be he's in deep trouble. Hey, on the other hand, maybe after all he's just got tired.
Tired?
That's right, man, tired. Don't you ever get tired? Like you just want to walk away from it all? Okay, Henry, let's start this whole thing with
Hello?
Mr. Astor?
Yes?
It's Pauline Brown.
Oh, hello there. Has Buddy turned up?
No, he hasn't. That's why I'm calling. I was thinking about what you were saying.
Oh?
Mr. Astor, I'm worried. If John said he was going to meet you, I'm sure he'd have been there. And if you say he had gigs...
Yeah, the band said he'd never miss them.
That's right.
Hello, are you still there?
Yes. I'm sorry. Mr. Astor, you're a policeman.
That's right.
I haven't seen John since... I think it must have been Wednesday last. Do you think I should inform the police?
Yes, I think you should. It can't do any harm. I mean, he may have had
Had an accident.
There's almost certainly a simple answer. But it makes sense to inform the police. And ask them to look out for his car. Meanwhile, I'll make a couple of calls myself.
Coleman.
Hello, sir. Sergeant Astor.
Fred, where are you?
Still in the Wicked City, sir.
Oh.
How are things up there?
Oh, fine, just fine.
Is wee Jackie making out all right?
Young? Oh, fine. Yes, credit to his uniform.
You're not missing me then?
No, not at all. Didn't even notice you'd gone.
Oh, that's good, sir, because a friend of mine may be in trouble. I want to ask for a few more days' leave.
What?
Just a couple more days.
Astor, you get yourself back here this minute. Tomorrow, whenever your leave's up.
If you're getting on all right with...
PC Young is a raving idiot. He's a disaster area. Somebody set me up, Astor, and you're top of my list of suspects.
He's very keen to get on,
He
sir.
broke my cup and saucer.
Not the one that misses...
Yes, and the milk jug, and the teapot.
Oh, I'm really sorry,
So
sir.
you get back here, do you hear? I'm going out of my mind.
Look, sir.
No, there's no look, sir. Just get back here.
I am on compassionate leave,
Yes,
sir.
and I'm not feeling at all compassionate. Come! Oh, my God, Fred, it's him. He's here now.
Young?
Yes. You get back here. Do you understand? Yes, Constable Young, what can I do for you?
I was wondering if you needed me.
Need you? Does a drowning man need a bucket of water in his face?
Only if I could take the afternoon off.
Yes, of course you can.
I can?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That is very... thank you, sir.
Make my day, punk.
Yes. Yes, that's John. Oh, my God.
I'm very sorry.
Oh, my God.
There is no doubt that this
for heaven's sake, man.
What happened? What do I have...
You'll have to answer some questions.
If you're satisfied that this is your husband, Mrs. Brown, Inspector Harrison would like a few words.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course.
Mrs. Pauline Brown, I'm Inspector Harrison. Please have a seat.
Thank you. Oh, this is...
my name's Astor. I'm a friend of the deceased.
I see. Well, do sit down, Mr. Astor.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brown, first let me say how sorry I am that there are certain questions I must ask.
Yes, that's quite all right, Inspector.
Mrs. Brown, the obvious question is why you took so long to notify the police that your husband was missing.
Oh, I explained at the time. My husband often spends long periods away from home.
On business?
Yes, he's a musician.
Then why did you...
When I discovered that he was working in London at the Soho Jazz Festival...
A jazz musician?
Yes.
Ah.
Well, obviously, if he was working in London, he'd have stayed at home.
You didn't know he was working in London?
No, I didn't.
Where did you think he was?
I don't know. It could have been anywhere. Manchester, Birmingham.
But you found he was working in London all the time?
Yes.
So it took you 5 or 6 days before you were worried
I'm
enough?
trying to explain.
Inspector.
Yes! Mrs. Brown, can you offer any explanation as to why your husband's body was found among the derelicts on the embankment? His car was found in Adam Street.
I don't understand.
His body was found on Sunday morning. His car was discovered a couple of streets away.
Sunday?
Yes. Do you have any idea where he might have spent the time between Wednesday, which is when you say you last saw him, and Sunday morning when we found him?
Inspector, I might be able to help.
What did you mean, derelict?
Didn't they tell you?
No. Nobody has told me anything. They just said that they had a number of bodies. Nobody has told me anything.
Mrs. Brown, how long have you been aware of your husband's addiction?
Addiction?
Perhaps you weren't aware of the extent of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mrs. Brown, your husband died of a massive overdose of heroin.
That's not possible.
Do you have any idea how long your husband was...
That isn't possible. There is some mistake.
I assure you there is no mistake.
John never took drugs in his life.
He was a jazz musician.
Oh, what's that supposed to mean?
I don't have to spell it out for you, Mrs. Brown.
John never took drugs in his life. For heaven's sake, Inspector, I'm his wife. I would have known.
There is no doubt as to the cause of your husband's death.
John... I know.
Mrs. Brown, it's quite possible that you wouldn't know. There are certain areas where drugs are freely available and frequently used. Your husband worked in one of those fields.
Not John.
It is possible that he may have used one of the less harmful drugs as a means of relaxation.
No.
It's only too easy to progress from there, and heroin addiction is a terrible thing and can happen very soon after the drug is introduced into the system.
It is not possible to live with someone and not...
I'm afraid it is. The alcoholic, the drug addict, anyone with an illness of that sort, even somebody with a terminal illness, will often go to enormous lengths to hide the truth from themselves and the people around them, and particularly their nearest and dearest.
Not John.
Mrs. Brown, all this has been a dreadful shock. I'm going to suggest you go home now. I'll contact you when we've had the opportunity to... Mr. Astor.
Yes, of course. Inspector, could I have a word?
Of course.
I'll wait outside.
You'll find a constable outside. He'll arrange a taxi if you like.
Yes, thank you.
Now, what can I do for you, Mr. Astor?
Sergeant, actually.
Sergeant?
I'm a police officer. I was a friend of the deceased.
Really?
I actually saw him on Saturday night. We'd arranged to meet again on the Monday.
And you left him?
Oh, it's on midnight.
You say where he might be going?
He said he was going home.
Huh.
But all I want to say is that I'd be very surprised if he was a heroin addict. In fact, we talked about...
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I'm not quite sure what your position is in all this.
I was a friend of John.
But you are not officially on this case.
No.
I would guess this is not even your patch.
No, it's
not. Then
not.
I think you can safely leave the whole thing to us, Sergeant.
I was only suggesting, sir.
Sergeant, John Brown died as a result of a large heroin overdose. There are no suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. I am grateful for any help you may be able to give in establishing his last known movements, but I'm not about to waste a lot of valuable police time worrying about the death of one more junkie.
I was only trying to say...
I'd like to be more sympathetic, but drugs and drug-based crimes are by far the largest problem the force has to face. My lads have to get out there on the street to face personal assault, maybe serious injury and sometimes death as a result of the villains protecting the drug trade. The hospitals are full of the victims of their filthy work. The social services can't cope. I'm sorry, Sergeant. Don't ask me to bleed for one more casualty along the way.
Yes, sir.
If you want to do anything to help, try and persuade the wife to accept the facts and help her through them.
Yes, sir.
Now, Sergeant, if you'll forgive me.
Sir.
I'm Dr. Benskin. What can I do for you?
Good afternoon, Doctor. My name's Astor, Police Sergeant, working on the Brown case.
And who is Brown?
You got him in here. Discovered Sunday morning. Embankment.
Ah, yes, our mysterious dosser. Now, what's your problem?
Doctor, could I just ask, are you quite certain about the cause of death?
Yes.
I'm a friend of the deceased.
Are you?
You see, Inspector Harrison's not my immediate boss. I'm making one or two independent inquiries.
I see. Well, he might have had the courtesy to give me a ring.
I'm sorry.
It'll cost him a pint. Anyway, what do you want to know? Your friend certainly died of a heroin overdose. Oh, well, that explains one little mystery.
What's that?
Well, it was obvious he wasn't a derelict. Far too well cared for.
In that case...
Yes?
I'm sure you have your methods.
Yes, we do.
I'm surprised you weren't more concerned with a nameless corpse. I mean, he was obviously not a derelict, and yet it was 3 days before he was identified. He could
Before you go any further, Sergeant, I take it you're not from this part of the world?
No.
Scotland. Which force?
Strathclyde. Look, Doctor.
No, you look. I shall ignore your bloody temerity in questioning my methods, but I do suggest that you know nothing about the way of the world down here. Very different, I suspect, from the banks and braes of bonny Scotland.
Dr.
Still
Benskin,
pottering around on your bicycle and helping old ladies across the street. Well, this is London. 3 murders a week on average. But that's nothing compared to the numbers who die of natural causes. Malnutrition, hypothermia, drug or alcohol abuse. Not to mention simple loneliness. The usual inner city diseases. Despair, Sergeant. The greatest killer of them all. Now, perhaps I should have been a little more concerned about the death of your junkie friend. But to me, he's a statistic. Now, don't you bloody dare tell me how to do my job. Get out and do your job. Help them before they get to me.
There we are. Pint of heavy.
Oh, thanks, sir. Cheers.
Good health.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Are you all right, Fred?
Oh, I'm fine, sir.
Well, it's a bit early for you to be starting on the beer.
Oh, I couldn't get to sleep on the train.
Well, I'm pleased to see you back.
PC Young.
Oh, not even capable of making a decent cup of tea, even when I'd found another pot. Now, you didn't set me up there, did you, Fred?
Would I do a thing like that, sir?
Oh. So, how was the big city?
Not good.
What about this friend?
Dead. That's why I came back, sir. I've made a mess. Got myself into some fairly warm water.
Can't let you out of my sight.
I wasn't getting a lot of cooperation, so I started making a few inquiries of my own.
And you started ruffling feathers?
I didn't set about things very well. Mind you, there are racist bunch down there. They don't seem to like the Scots.
Well, perfectly understandable. Mustn't blame them for that. I only see them once a year at Wembley Stadium. No, I'm sorry about your friend. But I'll be pleased to have the office back to normal.
Yes, that's why I asked you to meet me here.
Oh?
Can I get you another of those?
No, I'm fine. We haven't finished yours either.
We've been a team a long time now, sir.
Yes?
Many a sheep rustler's choked on his hot pot when he hears the hoofbeats of Sheriff Coleman and his trusty deputy.
We've been together long enough to get straight to the point, Fred.
Yes, sir. There's something badly wrong about John's death. I'd like your help on it, sir. I'd like to go back down to London, and I'd like you to come with me. I do appreciate it, sir.
I think he was pleased to see me go.
The super?
Called me difficult. I'm not difficult, am I, Fred?
Good Lord, no.
Then he said when I'd finished putting my foot in it, make sure none of it's sticking to him at the end of the day.
Just covering his back, sir.
Yeah, but he's right. We're on a wild goose chase, aren't we?
We've been through that, sir. I don't think so.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
They're too busy down there. I know what that man Harrison said, but I don't believe you can live with a heroin addict and not know it. And we'd actually been talking about drugs the last time I saw him. He didn't even smoke.
Well, you're a copper. Do you expect him to sit there cheerfully discussing his illegal habits with you?
No, sir, but I knew him.
Friends, Fred? Coppers don't have friends outside the force.
What about you, sir?
What point are you making?
The difference between you and me is that for me, being a copper's a way of life. My whole life. For you, it's all a game. I'm sorry, but...
No, carry on, I'm listening.
You'd rather have been a film critic.
A film director, actually.
Your life is outside the force. A lot of friends, and a lot of them very impressed at having a police inspector for a friend. It's a sort of social cachet.
Yes, well, you find that sort anywhere. Well, I know a far greater number who don't give a damn what I am.
Right, sir, but where I come from, people do give a damn. Do you know that my parents had to move from the estate when I went to police training centre? They were ostracised. My father would go down to the pub and people would turn their backs. Most of the kids I grew up with were nicked for something before they were out of their teens. Oh, you had to do a bit of thieving to get your own back on the people who dumped you there. One or two of us looked over the brick walls and saw that you could get out. John Brown and I made it. And I'll tell you one thing that's dead certain, sir. Once you got out, you stayed out. You didn't take any chances that might give them the chance to dump you back in. But you know me, sir. I mean, I'm a dead straight copper. I don't even buy any of Fergie's salmon because I know damn well where it comes from.
Well, I've often wondered. It is remarkably cheap.
Yes, sir. And that's why I know that John didn't use any drugs. He got his kicks out of the best malts, out of his music. You should have seen his home, sir. He'd seen what drugs can do to you back on the estate. He wasn't going to jeopardise all that for a whiff of pot or anything else.
Yeah, very eloquent, Fred. So, Buddy Brown didn't die of an overdose. Are you suggesting that we're looking at murder?
No. We're looking at the fact he didn't die of an overdose. He's dead.
Right. Now, which way was the buffet car?
That way, sir.
Right, come on then. Buy you a beer.
Oh, good.
How are things generally, Fred?
Oh, fine, sir.
I probably didn't seem very sympathetic.
Sorry, sir.
You know, when Harry... well, you know what I mean.
Harry?
Yeah, that's my background, I'm afraid.
Never mind.
Ah, that's handy. What do you have? I'm having a scotch. I can't bear this canned beer. Can I have 2 grouse, please?
Yeah.
Or bells, yes. Grouse and bells, right, thank you. Nothing with them.
Any water?
No, thanks.
4-8.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, I was attempting to say in a somewhat tongue-tied manner that I was not unsympathetic about Carrie. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
I just didn't know what to say.
Thank you, sir. I can see her, there you go. I can see her side of it. I was spending far too much time either at the office or in the pub. So with police work, it takes up 24 hours a day if you let it. Maybe your approach is right after all.
Margaret gets pretty upset too, you know. I often use the office as an excuse to miss some of her more boring dinner parties. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, but then I always tell her if you can't take a joke,
you shouldn't have joined.
That's right.
Oh, cheers, sir.
Cheers, Fred. Well, what will you do when we get to London?
Start back at basics. Go back to the band, have a chat to them, and then see the wife again.
Yeah, by all means talk to the band, but leave anything else until I've had a chat to Dickie Bennett.
Who?
The chief super. See what he can do to clear the way for us. We really can't go clumping all over the place on somebody else's patch. They do get very touchy.
Yeah, I found that out, sir.
Well, Dickie's a friend of the family. He'll sort something out for us.
You really do have the most appalling bloody cheek, Ronnie.
But I get away with it, Dickie. It's called charm. I've always been noted for it.
It doesn't work on us hard-bitten London bobbies. I'll have a chat to this man Harrison, but I shall have to make it a favour. I'm not in the position to issue orders.
It'll come better as a favour, Dickie. People like doing chief supers favours.
It'll come home to roost. It always does. It's fine for you. You can afford to knock on doors and run away.
What do you mean?
I've never seen you spending the rest of your days as a copper, Ronnie. Surprised you've lasted this long.
Oh.
I know you've had a couple of spectacular results where you get too involved. See, this present business is typical. A friend of your sergeant dies of a drug overdose. The first thing you do is to rush off on some quixotic fool's errand. You can't let personal feelings affect your judgment, Ronnie. It'll destroy you, both as a copper and as a person.
I need the favour, Dickie.
You know what I'm talking about. You'll never be half the copper your father was. He was a copper's copper.
I know all about my father, Dickie.
I wonder. He was respected by everybody who ever met him. You've got all his qualities, Ronnie, except one. You lack the killer instinct. You don't really want to be a copper.
Look, are you going to help me on this one, Dickie?
No, I'm sorry, Ronnie. I'm presuming on a friendship. One last thing, though. He didn't want you to follow him. He knew what the job was all about, what it did to people. It had started to do it to him. If he'd lived a bit longer, you might have seen it yourself.
I'm told that police morale is low enough without you chipping in your 2 pence.
I'm speaking as a friend, Ronnie. You're a gentleman in a violent world. Well, I'll have a word with Harrison, and if there's anything else I can do, don't hesitate.
Thanks.
Have dinner before you back up north?
Well, sadly, I only have a couple of days.
Well, you know where to find me. Where are you staying?
Ha! What a dump!
Pardon?
Betty Davis. All about Eve, I think.
Really?
My sergeant found a small hotel. Paddington area. Yeah, which reminds me. I must meet him before he starts taking the law into his own hands. He's becoming as adept as me at getting into hot water.
Man, this is not my day.
You are looking a disaster area, Brother Cass.
Hey, one of them mornings when you wake up with your eyeballs sticking to the pillow.
Hey, Henry, cool the piano, will you? Now he is dying. Where did you get to last night, Cass?
A really bad scene, Henry. Wine and wicked women.
Oh, damn, and I promised your mother I'd look after you while you were working in the wicked city.
It wouldn't have done no good, Henry. The scene was at my mummy's place.
Oh, that ain't true. That ain't Take me next time, man.
Looking for Buddy Brown.
Hi, man. What can we do for you?
Buddy Brown here?
Buddy Brown? You talking about the meanest corner player this side of New Orleans.
Don't jazz me, man.
That's what we do.
The man said I could find him here.
Which man is that?
I want to speak with him.
You find him, man. You tell us. Tell him we need to get paid. My family is starving on the street.
Hey, you walked out on your family a long time back, Henry.
Well, that doesn't mean we're not starving on the street. I just don't know which street.
Listen to me. I ain't fooling around.
Cool it, brother. Relax. We're just having a little fun.
Yeah. Don't give Cass any aggravation. I mean, he is not a strong man this morning.
I ain't giving any of you jokers aggravation, but you tell Buddy that a lot of people are getting very worried about him. And if he don't show soon, then those people are going to cause a lot of aggravation.
Who should we say was looking?
The name is Floyd.
Is that Fly Floyd?
Jason Floyd. He knows. Tell him if he's thinking of running, the market men are going to find him very quick. There ain't a lot of time. The people out on the street are getting very stretched out.
Okay, Mr. Floyd. You have a nice day now.
Well, now, today's the day when everybody wants to come calling.
Yeah, hey, look who's here. It's the policeman man.
Hello there. How are things going?
Hi there, Mr. Policeman. If you have come to tell us you have found Buddy, you are very welcome. He is the man everybody wants to see. Have you met the brother here? Mr. Jason Floyd? Meet Mr. Policeman.
Hello.
Mr. Jason Floyd is also very anxious to find Buddy Boy.
You a friend of his?
I just deliver messages.
You just said you knew him.
Seen him recently?
Like I said, I just deliver messages.
And who do you deliver messages for?
This ain't nothing to do with you, man. This is private business. You tell Mr. Brown he has only to show and there's no sweat.
Now look, Floyd.
Are you arresting me?
No.
Then excuse me, man. I done my Christian deed for today.
Bloody man.
Nice friendly guy.
Trash.
Hey, which goes to show you, not every friend of Buddy's is a friend of mine.
You ain't found him?
Yes, I have.
Oh. Well, where the hell has the cat been? I mean, we need him.
Yeah, where is he?
You don't look like the happiest man in town, Mr. Astor.
He's in the mortuary.
What are you saying, man?
Buddy is dead.
Oh, you have to be putting us on.
I'm not putting anybody on.
Buddy is dead?
What? How did it happen, man?
His body was found on the embankment.
Found?
You saying he was killed?
Why do you say that?
Well, you said his body was found, didn't you?
Right. Cats who die in the beds don't get found anywhere else.
He was found among the derelicts.
You've got to be putting us on. That ain't his style.
People don't always choose where they die.
Buddy would have done. I mean, he was in control.
Look, I have a couple of questions.
What do you want to know?
If this whole scene is for real, then we can't help you. I mean, we've been looking for the man since, when was that, Saturday night?
Shit, man. He really is dead.
I want to ask you about drugs.
Oh, anything you want, mister.
Shut up, you stupid fat mouth, Henry.
He ain't playing this for laughs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't take it in. It just...
Sure, man,
Anything you want, eh? That's what Buddy said Saturday night. He said he knew places where he could get almost anything.
Maybe he did, man. I mean, what exactly are you asking?
I wondered about drugs. I mean, everybody knows that musicians use
Especially jazz musicians.
And especially black jazz musicians.
I'm not saying that.
Then what are you saying, Mr. Policeman?
I'm not on duty.
I've never heard of an off-duty policeman.
Not even officially on this case.
You must be on something to come here asking those kind of questions.
Oh, for God's sake.
Okay, Jack, relax. Listen, mister. You are a friend of Buddy's. Well, we knew him pretty well, too.
And you knew him more recently than I did.
So what do you want to know? You asking about grass? Okay. You are a friend of Buddy's. I'm trusting you. Sure, a lot of us use a little grass from time to time.
What about something stronger?
Man, you are a joker.
Hey, you're talking E. Crack, smack maybe. The hard stuff. That kind of thing. Nobody uses that. We ain't that stupid.
Right, because that's something else, man. That stuff's gonna kill you.
It killed Buddy.
What are you telling us now?
Buddy died of a massive overdose of heroin.
No. Now I know you're putting us on. I mean, Buddy, man, that cat didn't use anything. That cat was clean. I mean, we work with him. We live with him. Do you think we wouldn't know something? I mean, man, I can look into somebody's eyes and I know. I can tell you what he's on and where he got it. If Buddy died of heroin, then somebody must have stuck it in him.
Curiouser and curiouser.
None of it makes sense.
No. Is there any more in that bottle?
Oh, sure.
May I make a comment?
Of course, sir.
The next time we go on a case together, I will choose the hotel. Sitting in a dingy room in Paddington, drinking whiskey from a plastic tooth mug does nothing for my little grey cells, or the whiskey. It also encourages a latent tendency towards touchiness.
When I booked it, I was thinking of a sergeant's pay packet.
Yes, well, you'd have done better to have thought of my well-being. I am a finely bred animal, Fred.
Like a racehorse.
Quite. And there's something about this place that is redolent of the glue factory.
I'll remember it next time, sir.
Do. Buddy Brown. Yes, I agree with you.
It all smells wrong.
But whether we can afford to go stamping around on other people's patches and their sensibilities because something makes your nostrils twitch is also questionable.
How many times have we thrown caution to the winds? Not to mention the rule book, just because you smelt something wrong.
True, Fred. But we've just established that I am a thoroughbred. And this case belongs to Inspector Harrison. He seems to have closed the book.
I can't let it go, sir.
Sentiment. The man was a friend of yours.
Not sentiment, sir. Look at it. The wife hadn't seen him for days. Where had he been? Not with the band. Another woman. Jealous lover.
Oh, don't let the bright lights of London affect your natural Scottish equanimity, Fred. Not everybody in the sinful city leads a lurid double existence.
All right. The man owns a beautiful house in Chelsea and is found dead in Cardboard City. By every account, he doesn't use drugs of any kind, yet he's pumped full of heroin. If this was Dundonald or Kilwinning, the bracken would be blue with bobbies looking for clues. Because it's London, nobody gives a damn.
Right.
So what are we going to do about it?
Eat.
Hey?
I have to eat something. You chose the hotel, I'll choose the restaurant. And don't worry about the sergeant's wage packet, my treat.
You're not hoping to buy me off with a beef burger?
Considerably better than that, I
Because
hope.
I have to do something, with or without your help, sir.
But first we eat. There's nothing we can do at this hour of the evening. Tomorrow morning we'll visit the wife.
What about the mortuary?
After the wife. Sometimes you're so hasty, Fred. Relax. You'll get indigestion before I've even selected the wines.
Oh,
Good morning.
good morning, Mr. Astor. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting...
Oh, we should have phoned.
No, not at all.
I wanted you to meet Inspector Coleman.
How do you do?
Hello.
Inspector? Well, I thought the other man... I already talked to the other inspector.
Harrison?
Yes.
Well, I'm nothing to do with him, Mrs. Brown. He doesn't actually know I'm here. I suspect he'd be very cross if he did.
Well, then what do you want?
May we come in?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Brown, Inspector Coleman is my immediate superior back home. He feels the same way about John as I do.
You knew him?
No, but my sergeant's told me about the circumstances surrounding his death.
I've already spoken to Inspector Harrison.
And Sergeant Astor tells me that you were not happy about the assumed cause of death.
I didn't think there was any doubt.
No, there's no doubt about how he died. What is in question is the likelihood of him having administered the fatal dose himself.
What are you suggesting, Inspector?
Well, I'm suggesting he didn't inject himself at all.
But the police, Inspector Harrison, said that John had died. Oh, my God. You think...
Yes, I think it's possible that somebody else injected the fatal dose.
But...
That would mean that your husband's death was murder, Mrs. Brown.
No, that's not possible.
Why not?
Well, it just isn't possible. People don't...
People don't what? People don't get murdered? Or people don't commit murder? I assure you they do. Mercifully, not very often, but they do.
No.
You said your husband didn't use drugs. If he didn't, how did a fatal dose of heroin enter his body? I'm trying to help.
I couldn't believe... I realised, I thought that marijuana was harmless. When I said that John had never used drugs, I honestly had no idea.
Are you saying that John did use hard drugs?
I've had time to think. I knew that John smoked marijuana, had done for some time. I thought he told me it was harmless. And I suppose that it led him to experiment with harder drugs. But I spoke the truth when I denied that. I was shocked. I was distraught at his death. I've had time to think about what Inspector Harrison said. I've had to accept that my husband was a drug addict and that it killed him.
You told Inspector Harrison that your husband never used drugs in his life. But he used pot.
I meant he never used heroin.
He smoked marijuana around the house, but kept his heroin habits to himself.
Well, he told me marijuana was harmless.
Nothing that causes dependency can be called harmless. Cigarettes, alcohol, even sweets.
I realise that now, Inspector.
Is your daughter at home?
Amy?
Yes. How has she taken this?
Oh, you can imagine.
Yes. Did she,
Did she what?
Did she know about John, about the drugs?
Of course not.
She would know about the pot.
No.
Ah. Is she in at the moment?
No.
Oh, I would have liked a word.
Amy can't be disturbed.
Yes, I do understand, Mrs. Brown, but there are quite a few things that don't add up. Your daughter may be able to throw some
light. Amy knows nothing. I won't have her subjected to questioning.
The reason I'm here is that not enough questions have been asked about your husband's death. An opportunity of talking to your daughter...
Inspector, I'm afraid that's not possible. Even if her doctor permitted it, I wouldn't.
I hadn't warned the inspector.
Amy is a very highly strung girl. She was already, before all this happened, she was under extreme stress.
Well, I'm on your side, Mrs. Brown. Surely an unofficial approach would be less upsetting.
Nobody is going to go anywhere near my daughter. I've made quite sure of that.
Who's her doctor?
It's none of your business, Inspector.
None of this is any of my business. Is she in hospital?
Amy's illness is mental. She needs specialist help. She's been treated privately.
She's in a clinic?
Yes.
Where?
I won't tell you. I won't have her tormented by questions from people who just don't understand. My husband is dead. My daughter's sanity is... Now, just leave us alone. Just let us get through the next few days and the funeral and try to pick up some thread of normality.
I'm very sorry. I think we should be on our way, sir.
Right. Yes, right. I'm sorry to have upset you, Mrs. Brown. I'm sure that you understand that I was only trying to help.
Yes. I didn't mean... Thank you very much for coming to see me.
Goodbye, Mrs. Brown. If there's anything at all...
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Will we take a taxi?
No. Don't ever do that again.
I'm sorry, sir. I just felt that the
I know perfectly well what you felt.
The woman has just lost her husband.
Under what looked like increasingly suspicious circumstances.
She was distressed.
Oh, we've been together long enough. You know better.
Yes, sir.
She started to get distressed the moment I mentioned her daughter.
If the girl is as ill as she says...
Makes me all the more intrigued to talk to her, though.
I'm sure you noticed the other thing, sir.
I'm sure I did. What was that?
The fact that she changed her mind about John being an addict.
Changed her mind, or come to terms with it.
Changed her mind. When she first heard the news, she was adamant. There was no way that her husband used drugs. She couldn't live with him and not know, etc.
Yeah. And you say that the band was equally...
Equally sure, yeah.
And now she says that she couldn't see the harm in smoking pot.
The daughter wasn't even aware of it.
Have you ever smelled pot, Fred?
Yes, sir.
Have you?
No.
I haven't, strangely enough, but I bet my kids have. Is it true what they say?
You can smell it in a room full of cigarette smokers.
Yet the daughter wasn't aware of it in a house where nobody smoked.
Well, we don't know the daughter didn't smoke. Or the wife come to that.
Oh, stop nitpicking. Now, I want to talk to the daughter. And we better start sorting out the facts about our corpse. Ah. There's one.
Taxi!
Good. Got him. I'll go and have another chat to the lads in the mortuary. You take the tube.
Where?
Get along to Inspector Harrison. Tell him, pretty please, and can you use his phone to find the daughter?
Oi! You getting in or not?
Find the daughter?
Yeah, one moment.
I ain't got a bloody day.
That could take days.
Got my living to make.
Yeah, I shall get into this taxi when I'm good and ready. At that point, you can start the meter.
You some kind of nutter?
If I have any lip from you, I shall make a strong suggestion that we take your taxi off the road to make quite sure that it complies with the requisite bylaws for plying for trade on the public highway.
You stupid old git.
Right. And there is my warrant card.
Oh. Well, I only asked a civil question.
Do you have any idea how many private clinics there are in London, sir?
And the home counties, Fred. No, I can see that it may take some time. You may find a moment during the time to reflect on the folly of questioning a superior officer's methods of interrogation.
Yes, sir.
Right. I would like you to take me to Westminster.
My pleasure, sir. All safely in, sir. And I'll just start the meter. There we are. Been a funny old sort of a day, wouldn't you say, sir?
May I just make a few comments on your report, Dr. Benskin?
By all means, Inspector.
Cause of death.
Massive heroin overdose.
Considerable amounts of whiskey in the body.
Correct. That didn't kill him.
Had had sexual intercourse.
That didn't kill him. It was some hours previous to death.
Contusions to the head, grazing on the knees and leg.
Consistent with a fall. That didn't kill him.
Body well cared for. Not a derelict.
I've never suggested that.
Can you give me any idea how long Brown had been an addict? For example, how badly damaged were the arms from the constant use of a needle? You did check for further puncture marks, other than the one that killed him.
When some unfortunate junkie ends up on my in-tray, I do not always have the time nor the inclination to inquire into the finer details.
That's my problem, Dr. Benskin. Nobody asked any questions. You didn't ask questions, therefore Inspector Harrison didn't ask questions. Only some poor benighted Scots police sergeant decided to ask questions. Consequently, I find myself in a city which I dislike, spending my days making enemies of the resident constabulary and my nights incarcerated in a bug-ridden room in Paddington.
It is possible that my report is not as thorough as you might wish, but my job is simply to ascertain...
I just want to go home, Doctor. And the sooner I can persuade somebody that Brown was not a drug addict and that he did not inject himself with the substance that killed him, the sooner I can be on the train from King's Cross. And you are in a position to help me realize that dream.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir, I did suggest it might be a long job. Oh, I've had a sandwich. It's kind of you to ask. Oh, yes, I've heard of it, sir. Yes, I'm told the food is excellent. Yes, sir. If I come up with anything... Oh, absolutely, sir. It would be a crime to spoil your meal for the sake of it. Yeah. But if you'll excuse me, sir, I'm just halfway through Surrey, and I'd like to get through the list before they tuck the patients up for the night. Yes, sir. Oh, bon appetit. Man's a sadist.
What are you doing then, Jock?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, a bit different from the life of a country copper. Yeah, strolling through the heather, looking out for the odd poacher.
Hello. I wonder if you could help me. I'm trying to find a woman. Pardon? No, madam, I'm not a... I'm a police... Oh, damn.
Plodding down all those country lanes, trying to decide which pub to have your lunch in.
Yeah, well, that's how he got those big copper's feet.
And this is what real police work is all about.
Sitting at a desk, plodding through the routine stuff.
Yeah, that's how you got that big copper's bottom.
Oh, you what?
No, please, don't hang up again. I'm a police officer. No, madam, I cannot prove that over the phone. Yes, I'm looking for a woman. She might be a patient of yours. Pardon? A patient? Isn't that the Fairholme Clinic? Oh, I'm sorry. Madam, there's no need to take that attitude. Yes, I've apologised, yes. Well, if I keep dialing a wrong number, why do you keep answering it? Stupid women.
He'll have to watch his blood pressure.
I'll tell you what, Jock. We're off for a late lunch. Join us down the pub for a pint?
Oh, don't tempt me. I've got to come up with something on this girl for the boss, man. I'll have me working through my supper as well.
Well, can we bring you a can back?
Oh, I could take a chance on that.
Can't have you going back to the Trossachs moaning about us Southerners' lack of hospitality.
Okay, I take back everything I was thinking about you. Hello. I wonder if you can help me. I'm looking for a woman...
A word of advice, though, Jock. I would change that line of approach. He's going to get you into all kinds of trouble in London.
On the other hand, he might strike lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, excuse me. I was interrupted. I'm a police officer. I'm trying to trace a Miss Amy Brown. She might be a patient of yours.
You wouldn't call a farmer in Scotland and say he was looking for a sheep, now would he?
But I don't carry a checkbook. Everybody accepts plastic.
Not everybody, sir. This particular restaurant doesn't.
So, now what do we do?
Perhaps, sir, has some means of identification.
Yes. I do, as it happens. I'm a police officer. Perhaps Sir would accept a warrant card as proof positive that I'm not a confidence trickster.
I hope that I have never suggested that...
Well, there we are.
Thank you, sir.
Now, if you'd care to add something appropriate, say, 10%, I will gladly sign anything.
One small question, sir.
Yes?
I notice that this is not a metropolitan area warrant card.
What's that supposed to mean?
You seem to be a long way from home.
Well, I'm on holiday. Well, I'm not on holiday, actually. I'm on a case.
From Scotland?
Yes, from Scotland.
It's rather difficult to verify the card.
Good grief, you don't trust me.
Not at all, sir.
There's only one way to settle this. Excuse me.
Yes, the name's Astor. Police sergeant. Thank you. Found her in 4 hours and 34 minutes.
Oh, I'm filled with admiration for this jock genius, Holmes.
Simple deduction and natural Scottish canniness.
Totally gobsmacked, Watson.
You see, I just reasoned that the girl wouldn't be in a London clinic. Too near to guarantee anonymity.
Are you taking notes, Watson?
Right. So sorry. Not too far to visit. Far enough away
for anonymity.
Right.
How do you spell anonymity?
There's still a bit us country bumpkins can teach you London lads.
I am humbled. Yeah, it was the straw in your hair. Had us fooled.
If you've got time to show me this pub of yours, I'll teach you a thing or two about beer as well.
Oh, what's wrong with that one?
No, nothing. Very good. It's just that back home we call this Highland spring water.
Stupid business. Yes, they don't take credit cards, and for some reason they don't trust my warrant card. If you could just explain. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Nobody told me you were in conference. No, not at all, Dickie. I don't think it's worth that sort of thing. I'm sure their kitchens are spotless. Yeah, just a quiet word. Explain who I am. Right. Chief Superintendent Bennett. For you.
I take it that you know something of Amy's case history, Inspector.
No, I don't.
You said you were a friend of the family.
Yeah, my sergeant. He was the...
Yes, I was a friend of her father's.
However, we are here officially.
Yes, of course. I gather the father is dead.
Very recently.
Sad.
Well, that's one word for it.
No, I meant the whole business. The daughter...
I understand the problem is mental.
Is that what they told you?
Isn't that the case?
Inspector, I'd like to reiterate my disapproval of your visit at this time. As I said on the phone, if you could wait a week or two...
And as I explained, that just is not possible. I am grateful for your cooperation. May we see her now?
Yes, of course.
We will see her alone.
You won't, Inspector. Apart from the ethical considerations, I am more used to this sort of thing.
Doctor, I would prefer to pursue my investigation in my own manner.
I'm not prepared to discuss this.
May I remind you
May I remind you that if I pull medical rank, you won't get beyond this door. Take it or leave it, Inspector.
Yes, Sergeant?
Sir?
You look to be about to say something.
Oh, never, sir.
Good. Right, now let's see the girl.
Hello, Amy. How are you this morning? Amy, I've brought some friends to see you.
I don't know them.
They're friends of mine. And they'd like to ask you one or two questions.
I don't know them.
You don't have to answer the questions.
Doctor...
You don't even have to speak to them if you don't want to.
Doctor, I must insist...
I won't let them upset you, Amy. Do you want to talk to them?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Amy, we haven't met, but I think you know Mr. Astor here.
I can't talk. Get him out.
At your mother's place.
Cow! That cow!
I wanted to talk to
Can't
you.
talk! Get him out!
Doctor?
Not in front of him. He knows.
Would you mind, Doctor?
It's irregular.
What if she won't talk?
I know you.
I will be just outside the door.
You're a friend of my dad's.
That's right.
There's a bell by the door.
Yes, I see it.
At the first sign of any trouble.
Thank you.
You're friends with my dad's.
Mr. Astor knew your father.
He's a shit. He's a shit.
Who?
He knows. That's why I got him out of here.
The doctor?
He's got the stuff. He's got loads of the stuff.
Amy.
He won't give me any. I begged him. I had to beg him.
Sir.
My dad sent you. You're friends with my dad.
I want to talk about your father.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank
Sir,
God.
I don't think that...
Christ, it hurts. Oh, Christ, it hurts.
What hurts, Amy?
My dad gave you the stuff.
Amy, your father...
Give it to me now.
Amy...
Give it to me now.
I don't have anything.
Give it to me now, you bastard.
Sir, don't you see...
I've got money. You want money?
Oh, good
Just give me the stuff. Please, please. Look, you can screw me. Do you want to screw me?
Oh, come on, Fred.
Please, my dad will give you the money.
I'm sorry. Come on.
Give you bastard! Bastard! Give me some stuff! Oh, give me some stuff! Please, give me some
The bell, Fred! By the door!
It's all right, Amy. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm sorry. I had no idea.
Just get out.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be with you in a moment. It's all right, Amy. It's all right.
Please. Give me some stuff. Jesus, it hurts. Oh, Jesus, it hurts.
You all right, sir?
Yes.
Oh, dear. You need something on your face.
Yes.
Oh, and your neck looks...
What? Oh, grief, the shirt. Oh, is this his...
Yes, sir. He said he'd see us.
Yes, I heard him.
Oh, he's here.
What?
The doctor, sir.
Yeah.
She'll be all right. I've given her a sedative. It's only temporary, but... Are you all right, Inspector?
Yes, a little shaken.
I'll get someone to look at your face.
No, please, I'm quite all right.
Best not to take chances.
I had no idea.
I shouldn't have left you alone.
How long will it be before...
Before you can get any sense out of her? Or before she's through the pain barrier? Or before she's dead?
I have my job to do as well, Doctor.
I suggested you came back in a couple of weeks. All the problems might have been resolved by then.
Well, how long has she been an addict?
I don't know. This is her second visit here.
She's been here before.
Which doesn't bode well for the future. Oh, I suppose she's luckier than most. Most of them don't get one chance. But the fact that Amy's been through it all once and still... I don't give too much for her chances, Inspector.
Well, Sergeant, we'd better get back to Mrs. Brown. Thank you again for your cooperation, Doctor.
I'll get someone to patch up your face.
Oh, thank God. Thank God, Inspector. You can't know how long this nightmare...
Mrs. Brown.
Can I get you something?
Oh, no. I'm fine. It's just relief. If you knew what it's been like living...
How long?
Years. A lifetime. Did Dr. Henderson tell you?
He said she was being treated a second time.
Yes. I don't know how... Oh, it's been 3 years, I suppose. Amy's our only child. Such a lovely girl. Now she's an old woman. But they'll cure her, you know. Dr. Henderson's a wonderful man. When she came out of his clinic last time, you wouldn't have known her, Inspector. She looked so beautiful and gay. She was so eager to...
But she went back to her addiction.
Yes. Mr. Astor, would you pour me a brandy?
Yes.
There's a decanter in the... Inspector, would you?
No, thank you. Mrs. Brown, your husband obviously knew...
About Amy?
Yes.
Yes, of course he knew. He spent his life amongst that sort of person.
And yet, you didn't know about him?
My husband was away a great deal. We led separate lives, Inspector. I expect you gathered that.
2 addicts living together. Possibly each one supplying the other's needs.
Well, that's possible. But... Well, unless you've experienced the problem, you don't know how difficult it is to spot. Well, they're not only very clever at concealing their addiction, you're not looking for it. You don't expect to find your own child... I didn't even know, well, not for some time, that Amy had gone back to... And I was looking for it then.
Mrs. Brown, there is one possibility that we have to face. Now, we still don't know how so much heroin found its way into your husband's body. There is the possibility that your daughter might have... Well, she presumably had access.
No!
Well, I'm talking about the possibility of accident.
No! you're forgetting. My husband hadn't been home for some days. Well, 3 days before his body was found.
Yes, of course. And we haven't made any progress yet in discovering how he spent those last days.
Oh, thank you, Sergeant.
Right, well, I apologise for pestering you with so many questions. These are difficult times. I hope your daughter... Well, I'm sure she will.
She'll do fine. She's a fighter. If she's anything like her dad, she's a fighter.
Thank you.
We'll find our own way out, Mrs. Brown.
Brave wee lassie, sir.
Yes.
Having to live with 2 heroin addicts.
Except that we know that her husband wasn't.
She keeps changing tack ever so slightly every time a fresh wind blows up.
But for the time being, we still believe her. So let's find out where Buddy Brown was spending his nights before he died. I'll brave Inspector Harrison in his den.
Yeah?
You go and talk to the band again.
Hey, listen, man. I can only tell you what I know. Buddy didn't do that kind of thing. Not on tour. Not ever. I mean, he had a whiskey and went back to the hotel. If he was close to home, he went home. I'm telling you, he was the kind of guy who would give us jazzmen a good name. Hey, now, man, I gotta go and get on that stage.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Hey, no sweat. One thing is worrying me. Maybe, I'm only saying maybe, but I think Buddy could have been in some kind of trouble. You remember that Floyd, the black brother who was here the other time?
A most unpleasant gentleman.
Yeah, well, he showed his face around again, and he was even less pleasant. I mean, he started threatening about Buddy.
Didn't you tell him he was dead?
Hey, Mr. Fred, anybody start getting that heavy with me, especially a brother, ain't gonna even get the time of day from me. Buddy was a nice guy, like I said. But it is possible, from what that Floyd cat was saying, that he could have got himself into something pretty bad.
How do you mean?
Look, Jason Floyd is the trash of this world. When you turn over the bottomest stone in the dirtiest pool, you're gonna find his kind there.
Could he be a pusher? Drugs? Heroin, maybe?
I gotta go. I'll just tell you one thing. Whatever that black brother was pushing around Soho, it certainly wasn't the roast chestnut concession.
I won't make any bones about it, Coleman. I don't like it when gentlemen police officers start nosing around on my patch. And I don't like it when their chief superintendent chums start breathing down my neck.
I was seeking official approval.
To interfere. And I like it not at all when I find that my own force has omitted to pursue investigations in an adequate manner.
It was just the personal element.
Yes, your sergeant. Anyway, Dr. Benskin here has submitted a new report based on a second reading of the injuries the corpse has sustained. George.
I'll summarise, Inspector. My colleague and I are now prepared to accept certain possibilities. Certainly the actual cause of death was a massive drug overdose. However, there were no other puncture marks to suggest that the deceased was a regular drug abuser. Moreover, it is possible that the contusions to the head were not all caused by a fall. At least one could have been caused by a heavy blow by an instrument of some sort. The extent of the bleeding from the other injuries also suggests that Brown may have been dead before the fall which caused them.
Which means that we're looking at something quite different from our first assumptions. We're quite possibly looking at murder.
Possibilities? Well, it is possible that. It may be that.
We're under enormous pressure, Inspector. That pressure makes us regard the death of one more junkie with less concern than we perhaps should. The same pressure may possibly lead us into occasional error. We may even envy the rural police officer who can devote his spare time to a little fun detective work.
That's enough, George.
Good grief. No wonder the public are losing faith in us.
Look, let's not squabble, gentlemen. We all know the problems we have to face.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for your fresh assessment, Doctor.
Now, my turn. You can go if you like, George.
Right. Well, Inspector, if there's anything else...
No, thank you.
Having read Benskin's new report, I thought it was time I did my bit. Mrs. Brown said she'd not seen her husband since the Wednesday evening. It took no more than 9 hours of my hard-pressed force's time to ascertain that she's almost certainly lying.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. She has a knack of changing tack ever so slightly with every fresh wind that blows.
Yes, well, I'm not a sailing man.
And nor am I. I think my sergeant must be.
Brown drove a Porsche, a fairly ostentatious and noisy car, in what is basically a conservative neighbourhood. One of his neighbours saw the car parked outside his house late on Thursday or Friday. 2 saw it late on Friday, and 1 definitely saw it on Saturday. Brown arrived home later than usual and woke the man up. The same man is almost certain that he drove away again early in the morning. He thinks he heard it. He didn't see it.
My sergeant never accepted the misadventure theory. And if it was murder, then there was only ever one real suspect.
This is your case now?
No. No, I'm not in the business of headhunting. I was only interfering.
Well, I shall write a full report. I'd better get along. You'll come with me?
No, I won't. My sergeant will be meeting me here.
Oh, yes, your sergeant. I shall still want a word with him. There are certain protocols to be observed after all.
I'm not sorry for what I did. My husband was a murderer.
I must ask you to accompany me to the police station.
Can I see my daughter?
No, that will not be possible.
She had nothing to do with this. She didn't know what she was doing.
Mrs. Brown.
My husband had been dealing in drugs. He was killing people for money, Inspector. He was killing my daughter.
Had he been supplying heroin to your daughter?
Yes. Yes. He said he loved her. He couldn't stand to see her in pain. Of this house, everything we have has been bought with other people's pain. He was away. Amy didn't have any of her drug. And she started screaming. Daddy's got some. Daddy's got some. And she begged me to find it. See, I didn't know. I didn't know it was him. And then I knew that I'd have to stop him before he killed her. When he came home on Saturday, he'd been drinking. We sat and talked, and he had more whiskey. And then he wanted to make love to me. I let him. And when he'd finished, he fell asleep. And then I hit him with a lamp so that he wouldn't wake up while I found Amy, and she showed me how to inject him. I didn't know how much it would take. I just used all I could find. Then I got Amy to help me get him into his car, and we drove him to where all the drunks are, and we dumped him there. I was frightened then. We dropped him getting out of the car. I'd no idea that a dead person weighed so much. We laid him down with those people. Then we left the car, and everything would have been all right except that friend of his came asking questions.
You were taking an enormous risk.
Oh, there was no risk. He'd be just another of those filthy people. He was one of those filthy people.
You were taking a risk of being seen when you dumped your husband's body.
We were seen. One of them woke up and spoke to us. He didn't have any idea of what was happening.
Inspector Harrison, sir?
Thank you, Constable. Mrs. Brown is going to come with us now. There won't be any trouble.
Amy knew nothing about it, Inspector. She didn't know what was going on. She just thought she was helping her mummy. Can I see her, Inspector?
It might be possible. I don't know. It's not for me to decide.
Yes, of course. My coat is outside. I suppose I'll need some clothes. Have I time to pack a small bag?
Well, that's the end of the whiskey.
I trusted Buddy not to drive home. He'd had a few. If he'd taken a taxi, he might be alive now. His wife wouldn't have been able to dump the body. Certainly his car wouldn't have been there for the neighbour to see.
Perils of drinking and driving. The life that is lost might be your own.
I think Buddy was trying to help his daughter in his own way. He must have needed a lot of money to supply her needs. Dealing in the product seemed the only way.
Yeah. Conjecture, Fred.
So we're left with, sir.
Well, who cares? The Dr. Benskins and the Inspector Harrisons have got it right. Don't give a damn for anybody. Just another derelict. Just another junkie. Whatever your reasons, if you hadn't cared... Oh, damn it, Fred. Would anybody miss a drug pusher? Would anybody have missed your friend if he hadn't been who he was? Now his wife's locked up, and his daughter...
What will happen to the girl, do you reckon?
None of our business, Fred.
No, sir. Just catch the poor devils.
Well, it won't take a particularly bright counsel to get her treated with extreme leniency. Oh. This tacky little hotel's driving me insane. Let's make the best of our last night in London. I said I might have dinner with Dickie Bennett, but I don't fancy another lecture. I did notice that Casablanca is showing at the NFT, a new print. Do you fancy that?
I'm not in the mood, sir. I'm thinking of Buddy, his family. What he did to keep from going back.
It doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll understand that.
What are you talking about, sir?
Well, Casablanca. Bogart's last speech to Ingrid Bergman. Are you sure you don't want to see it?
No, sir. There's only one place for me tonight.
Thank you, folks. Hey, that's it. It's been a great couple of weeks, and I guess we'll see you all again sometime, someplace. Hey. One cat we're never going to see again, though. So before we go, one last one for John Buddy Brown. A great guy, a good friend, and a really mean cornet.
Sergeant Astor was played by Joe Dunlop and Inspector Coleman by Stephen Thorne. Pauline Brown, Kate Binchy, Amy Maria Miles, Buddy Brown, James Grant. Cass Green, Paul Barber, Jack Reed, Tony Armatrading, Henry Flood, Michael McStay, Jason Floyd, Sidney Cole. P.C. Young, Peter Gunn, Inspector Harrison, John Forgeham, Chief Superintendent Bennett, Terence Edmond. Doctor at the clinic, David Lerner, Dr. Benskin, John Webb, Dr. Hodges, Matthew Sim. CID in London, Mark Straker and Nicholas Murchie. Cabby, Jonathan Tafler. Buddy Brown's All-Stars were Alan Elsdon, Randy Colville, Stan Gregg and Peter Ind. The play was recorded on location by Robin Spicer and David Greenwood. Death of a Mean Cornet was written by Michael McStay and directed by Jane Morgan.